So there are a lot of factors which make Malta as a jurisdiction attractive. I mean, besides the financial incentives which we shall be talking about, there's the fact that Malta is located bang in the center of the Mediterranean. I mean, there's coastlines, there's the architectural buildings, the historical structures. These all contribute to the fact that Malta is very often used as a double for Middle Eastern locations. And there's also the language factor. I mean, besides having the Maltese language as an official language, we also have the English language. Malta is very well connected with lots of flights coming in and out. There's the weather factor, of course. We have great weather most of the year round. We're also a small country, so getting from one location to another within the country itself is very easy. And there's, of course, the fact that we offer a very efficient tax system. Yes, correct. So recently the Maltese government has upgraded the cash rebate they currently offer. So it was 27% and now it's 40%. So it is the most attractive it's ever been. Basically, what the Malta Film Commission is doing, it's awarding qualifying production companies which carry out qualifying productions a maximum of 40% rebate of eligible expenses incurred in Malta. The most important thing, however, it's not only the fact that they have this rebate, there's also the fact that this rebate is exempt from income tax in Malta as well. Okay, so the list is endless. I mean, it goes from location fees to hotel and rental accommodation for foreign cast and crew. There are professional fees, which includes accounting, audit, legal fees. There's catering services, laundry and dry cleaning, diving services, rental of camera equipment, and it goes on and on. But what is important is that the expense has to contribute to the production's needs and it has to be directly related to the production. Okay, so there's the fact, first of all, there's the fact that we mentioned earlier, I mentioned it to you, that it has to be a qualifying production company. Basically, what this means is that the company itself has to have responsibility for everything to do with the making of the production, and it has to have access to the full financial information of the total production worldwide. There's also the requirement of the minimum spend. So basically, there has to be a minimum spend of €100,000 in Malta with the budget exceeding 200,000. Then there is, for what we call difficult audiovisual works, the minimum spend is then €50,000 in Malta with the budget exceeding €100,000. So that's the first criteria. There's another criteria that it has to be a qualifying production. So basically it has to be at the very least partially produced in Malta, and it has to be intended for international distribution. What is usually classified as a qualifying production would be a feature film, a television production, there's game shows, there's reality programs, there's creative documentaries, and so on. As long, again, as we said, it's at least it's either wholly or partly produced in Malta. Yes, so the production has to be considered as a cultural product, meaning that it has to satisfy the so-called cultural test by obtaining a minimum of 40 points in this test. This test is drawn up by the Malta Commission, and basically the idea behind it is so that the Commission itself can determine whether the production is capable of contributing to the expression of culture and creativity. So first, what one has to do is submit an application to the Malta Film Commission at least 30 days before the planned commencement of the production. And this, for provisional approval, basically, what they'll be sending is a detailed projection of the Malta budget for the production and a completed cultural test, amongst other supporting documentation. Of course, then, depending on the results of the cultural test and other specific criteria, the Malta Film Commission will issue a provisional certificate. Then the rebate can only be claimed when the production has been complete and when the company has sent a full audit report to the Commission. Of course, as the name implies, these are difficult productions, and the Commission in fact lists what is classified as a difficult audiovisual work. For instance, let's say the original version of the film is in the Maltese language, of course, it will have a limited reach, so that makes it difficult. There's also, for instance, maybe it's experimental in nature, so again, it's classified as a difficult audiovisual work. The Commission recognizes this difficulty, and in fact, these types of works benefit from they have further benefits. For instance, the rebate that's applicable to them is up to a maximum of 50% instead of 40%. But of course, the criteria is a bit stricter, and there are more requirements which have to be satisfied. Yes, I mean, not specific to the film industry, but in general. For instance, in Malta, the standard rate of VAT is 18%, but a reduced rate applies to certain supplies. For instance, hotel accommodation, the reduced rate of 7% applies to these. In Malta, we have our corporate tax rate is a standard rate of 35%, but the incorporation of a Maltese company with foreign ultimate beneficial owners, so persons resident outside of Malta, will entitle one to a refund. And in effect, what this refund means is that they're paying a final tax of 5% instead of the full 35%.